interesting impact we have. But I am a little concerned about what's going to happen next week before Under Pressure. Let's be honest. This will be the first real pay-per-view that we've seen the new management really take full hold of. Not something they had to handle before because of all the previous stories and characters that were built before. This is a pay-per-view that they've been building people up. They've been doing things differently than the previous management has been doing. So this is still, I'm a little concerned that if they do too much next week, like said a lot of things next week, we're not going to have much for Under Pressure. But this is just my fears. Doesn't mean it's actually going to happen. But you guys tell me below what you think. Now, this was an interesting show, and I'm going to start with the ending of the show. Moose versus Congo Kong. I didn't really care about the match. It wasn't a very good match. Not because they didn't work well in the ring. It's because we've seen this before at another promotion. I'm not complaining that we don't see other promotions that Impact Wrestling is interacting with. I'm actually kind of glad that they are still doing it. As long as Impact is still the emphasis of the promotions being seen. They can show the other minor promotions compared to themselves, but Impact must be the focus. If it is not, you got a major problem, like we did last time. But in this case, it's been alright. I've been fine with it. But I've seen this match with Moose, and I've seen it with Congo Kong. To be honest, they both feel like they're floating. You don't really have anything for Congo Kong, and you definitely don't have anything for Moose. Moose is a top tier player. He just exclude, I don't know what the right word is. He just shows that he belongs in the main title scene, and he's working with Congo Kong, who's supposedly trying to be built up. So it feels like it's just a holding pattern. Now, I didn't really care about the match. I didn't. But when it was all over, the X that you see in my face and Jimmy Jacobs being taken out, you may wonder what the hell is going on here. Who is the one taking these guys out? My hope is not another Aces and Eights faction. That's what I'm hoping for. I am hoping they're not going to rehash a little bit of Aces and Eights. That's what I'm hoping for. If it's something entirely different, I'm all for it. I just don't want to see too much of a rehashing of a situation. That's just me. Now here's another match I really didn't care that much about, but I do understand where it's leading. That's Desmond Xavier versus Petey Williams. I'm going to be honest here. The match really wasn't that good. Desmond Xavier looked like he was holding back a lot. And so was Petey Williams to a certain extent. I mean, it did pick up at the end of the match, and Desmond won. But it really felt like, But here's the thing. The person that the Desmond Xavier is going to be going up against this at least is going into the pay-per-view, and it is with Brian Cage. If Desmond Xavier wins against Brian Cage, he gets a shot at the X Division again. It would be better if he just went up against Brian Cage next week, and if he does win, unless I heard him wrong, I believe I heard it right, that Desmond Xavier is going to be at No Pressure with Brian Cage, and if he wins, he gets his shot. I think it would be better if it was done on the next show, and then you would have Matt Sydal go up against Desmond Xavier there. But I can understand why they're not doing it, because when have they built up Desmond Xavier? In fact, when have they built up the X Division and gave them a feud? The most the X Division had was Matt Sydal and Josh Matthews. That is saying a lot. It's shocking to see we had the most with Josh Matthews working with a Matt Sydal. And now what do we get? This is what we get. We get Matt Sydal against Phantasma. And I gotta say, it was the best match of the night. It was. These guys were into it, and I did enjoy the match very well. Well, not very well, a lot. I did enjoy the match a lot. In the end, Matt Sydal managed to retain. But to be honest, it doesn't really feel like Matt Sydal's really doing much. He feels like he's in a holding pattern as well. You would have hoped that Scott Demont and Don Causey, Kasi. I can't pronounce the guy's last name. I always mispronounce people's names, damn it. But you would think they would emphasize the X Division a lot more. Give them a feud. Look what happened with AJ Styles dealing with Samoa Joe, then dealing with Samoa Joe, going with Christopher Daniels, going with Kazarian, going with the Motor City Machine Guns. When it came to those guys, they went into the X Division as well. I just feel like the X Division still just not being cared for. It's just how I feel. Now, I gotta get this segment over quickly because I don't want to think about it. Because even though it's silly, it has someone in there I just don't care about. You got KM and you got Falaba dealing with, what is her name? Katarina. I keep forgetting Winter's new name. Katarina. Still a gorgeous woman. I think she's a little bit younger than me. I keep saying it. You guys can tell me how old she is. I think she's like 41, 42. Could be wrong. And it is Guido. I would rather see Guido as a manager. Honestly, I would. Now, it's understandable what was trying to be brought into this segment. That KM is trying to motivate Falaba to be a ladies' man. And saying pretty much, look, this fat slob got a woman. Hell, you could probably get her. And then we find out Katarina likes fat people. Oh, she's got a hard-on for them. No, what did they call it in animation? She's thirsty. There you go. Katarina is thirsty for some heavy-set men. Now, in actuality, there are women out there that just love heavy-set men. Just like there are guys who love heavy-set women. But I really don't care about this. If you had kept these two by themselves, and I'm talking about Falaba and KM, and kept doing this thing where maybe Falaba starts trying to date, well, you could say Kira Hogan. That probably would be an interesting situation. You could say that. But they look like they're going to try and do Katarina with Falaba, or at least trying to do something. I don't want to see these four together. I just don't. Now, the LAX segment and match. Let's get the match over first. Was it a good tag match? It was okay. It was a good match. It wasn't a great one, but it was a good one. The problem I had personally, I kind of wish they had said something in the ring with a live mic. That's just me. I know other people say, no, it doesn't matter. For me, it does. I want to see, look, Ortiz and Santana, they got to have the ability to talk. And I really want to see them talk in the Impact Zone. Anyone else, I understand. You don't care. It doesn't matter. Leave them as is. Let them just talk. Less. It doesn't matter. They don't have to talk. Me, it does. I want to see these guys expand themselves. I've been really upset they never had in-ring segments for themselves. Good match. Not a great one, but it was a good match. And the Cult of Lee wins. Then we see these guys tear up their clubhouse until they're in my face. He's in my face. If I got a shot, I don't remember if I got a shot at Kingston. I just know, seeing Kingston, it's a bit upsetting to see Kingston as a possible new manager for LAX. When these guys should be given a chance on their own to try and expand, they just throw another manager at them. I don't even know if these guys have the ability to talk. Yeah, they've been doing in backstage segments in the clubhouse where they can rehearse it. But honestly, it just makes me think, well, guess what? They don't talk. They can't talk, they suck. And that's something I don't want to see for them. Now, was the segment with Kingston alright? It looked a little rehearsed. He was kind of pausing a lot. Maybe it's due to the fact it might have been a little bit tiring. They just started doing that. Who knows? Maybe when they go into the Impact Zone, Kingston will talk better. But as it stands, I would rather not see Kingston there. But if they cannot talk, they just have no character or personality that the brass in the back thinks they have, I can understand why they just stuck them with a new manager while Conan's gone. Now, I don't have the video images of Austin Aries talking about Pentagon Jr., but I will say it was very well done, and I did enjoy it. The interviews that Madison Rain, E and Z did, who else? Moose did. I did enjoy them. They weren't bad. Mackenzie is gorgeous. I just love her. And I'm sure I just scrolled by her. The one that I am glad to at least see was Madison Rain. Now, I'm not a big Madison Rain fan. I'm not. She's still a good-looking woman. A good-looking woman had a kid and managed to slim herself down because there's always a mama fat. But it's good to see that she's been putting over younger talent, other than Gail Kim. And I'm saying this because of what every time when Madison Rain has come back, and I'm sure people are going to say Madison Rain doesn't job. Look, in the last 3 years, she's come back at least 2 or 3 times. And every time she's come back, she's had a feud with someone and put them over. So I'm going by that. Is she a bitch in the back? I don't know. She probably is. I'm just going by what Impact has shown. So it looks like they're going to use Madison Rain and try and get over Tessa Blanchard, who really still hasn't won me over. Maybe she just needs to wrestle a little bit more to get me invested. Because as it stands, I just don't see what she has. I'm sorry. Yeah, maybe she's got some ability in the ring. But it takes a little bit more than just ability in the ring to win people over. And maybe it's because she hasn't been shown to me enough. Maybe it's just because they haven't shown her in the ring enough. It just feels like it's missing. Was the segment effective? Yes, it was. Now, let's see. What am I forgetting here? Alyssa and Eddie Edwards. The match between, who was it? OVE and Aerostar and Drago. I'm not saying it was a bad match. It was fine. But this was not about them. This was about Eddie Edwards losing his, forgive me my language, losing his shit. And doing whatever it took to destroy OVE so he can get his hand on Sami Callihan. And Alyssa is screaming and yelling and begging her man to stop. This is still leading to what I believe is a Tommy Dreamer and Eddie Edwards feud. Now, maybe it's going to culminate into Bound for Glory. I don't think it's going to culminate going into Slammiversary. It's possible. There's still enough time to do it. You got 2 months before Slammiversary comes on what? July 22nd. Before my birthday. So, I can understand what they're trying to do. They're trying to build this going into Under Pressure. And then maybe this will start the build-up going into Slammiversary with a match with Tommy Dreamer and Eddie Edwards. And Alyssa will be in, not Eddie Edwards' corner, but Tommy Dreamer's corner, because Eddie has lost his freaking mind. And she's saying simply, in the backstage segment at the very beginning of the show, you are like Sami Callihan, and he could not stand it. He lost his shit again. He's saying, I want this man out in the woods. I want to beat his ass. That's not good to hear a guy say, I want this guy in the woods. I want to beat him up. That's also some weirdness there. Now, let's see. Anything left? That's it. The one thing I want to talk about, that short little segment of Aille. Now, I didn't say anything last week. I was considering making a video about it, but then I changed my mind. I wasn't sure if that was the wisest thing to do a video about Su Yung destroying Rosemary and what effect it had on Aille, because we hadn't seen enough of it yet. And here's the thing. You had the last segment of the show, near the last segment of the show, seeing Aille dressing as Rosemary, saying simply, I'm sorry, but I know you didn't want this, but I'm going to do what I got to do. Here's a problem. We only had one other video package before this. That was a week before that, showing how upset Aille was, beginning to twitch like her eye twitch, like I just did. And I feel like that's not enough. Mind you, I've been saying this for quite a while, that Aille need to become more aggressive, more tougher, like Cherry Bomb. But this is like going from 0 to 60. This is not, I think, the wisest thing to do. They could have built this up going into Slammiversary. Like a couple of videos video segments. Maybe a match for Aille before No Pressure, Under Pressure, not Low Pressure, No Pressure, Under Pressure, where she shows high level aggression, so much aggression, she starts showing the eye twitch, she starts showing her aggression, because it's too soon. This is how I'm feeling. As much as I'm glad to see Aille's turn darker, or in this case, Rosemary dark, it's too soon. I just feel like they're losing a incredible opportunity with Aille. They need at least 2, 3, 4 weeks to build up Aille showing this aggression. She's going like from here, down, down, then she hits it. And that's when she becomes like a Rosemary. Showing the paint of Rosemary. Taking that cross. I think I got a picture. If I didn't, well, I didn't. But that, I think, really would have made it more substantial. Because as it stands now, if they're going into Under Pressure with her like this, and yeah, they'll have another episode of Impact to do it, it would have been better if it was a month build for her. You could have had her have another in-ring, another interview with Mackenzie, at least 2 interview with Mackenzie. She's pacing in the back, angry about her best friend that she loves so much. And then she finds Rosemary's zip up top with the hood, and she's holding on to it, and she's angry, and she's pulling at it and pulling at it, like pulling at a shirt, and pulling at it and pulling at it. And then she gets this image of Rosemary in her head, and then she realizes she got to be Rosemary to defeat Su Yung. That would have been better. But that's just me. So in the end, this was a good show. I wasn't 100% turned off, but it felt like there were certain things kind of being put into a holding pattern because of Under Pressure. And they'll probably be rectified next week, at least most of them. But this is just me. Have a good day. Have a good night. Oh, almost forgot. 1 subscriber, Morgan Hyde. How you doing, dude? I have not forgotten you. When you said on your comment, long time admirer, you don't need to worry about that. I haven't forgotten you. I know I don't talk with you or leave any messages on your videos because you probably don't have the time to do your videos anymore, and you don't have 100% interest, but I haven't forgotten you. But he was one that gave me the idea of doing a video series about my favorite matches throughout the years. So possibly after this video, maybe tomorrow or maybe tonight, I will have the first of a series of videos. It's going to depend how long it takes me to edit this and how long I do the next video. But look for it. I don't know what I'm going to call the series. I'll figure it out. But have a good night. Good night.